Welcome back to the deep dive. Okay, so I want to start today with a picture that I think pretty much everyone listening is going to recognize. You know,
I think I know where you're going with this.
it's like 4 in the afternoon, you're at work, you go to the bathroom, or maybe you just, your laptop screen goes dark for a second and you see your reflection.
Oh, that's the worst. The dreaded black screen reflection.
It is the worst. And you just see it. The makeup you put on in the morning has settled into these little lines you didn't even know were there. Your skin looks kind of gray, maybe a little pasty.
You look tired.
You look 5 years older than you did when you walked out the door at 8 a.m. And what is the immediate gut reaction? It's always, I need a better eye cream. I need to drink more green juice. I have to eat a salad for dinner.
It's a universal reflex, isn't it? It's like we've been, I don't know, conditioned culturally, socially, and definitely commercially.
Oh, especially commercially.
To believe that the fix for that 4 p.m. face fall or just that dullness in the mirror is cleanliness. And in our world today, clean means raw vegetables, it means green smoothies, and it means avoiding fat like it's, I don't know, radioactive.
Exactly. I mean, if I want to glow, my brain immediately goes to the salad bar. I grab the kale smoothie that, let's be honest, tastes like wet grass.
A noble sacrifice for beauty.
Right, and I avoid all the heavy stuff because there's this feeling that heavy food makes you look heavy, makes you look puffy.
Yeah.
But today we are just completely flipping that script.
We are taking that script and throwing it out the window.
We're looking at a source that argues that everything we just said, that entire salad for beauty instinct, is not only wrong, but it's actually making things worse. It's accelerating the aging process.
It's a very controversial stance, to be sure. But the source material we're digging into today, it really suggests that the whole narrative we've been fed, that purity comes from plants and meat is clogging and aging, is just fundamentally flawed, like at a deep biological level.
Flawed, is putting it mildly. The central thesis here is, honestly, it's pretty shocking. It claims that if you want to get truly pretty, and I'm not talking about surface level stuff, I mean the structural things.
The real architecture of the face.
Yes. Glowing skin, thick hair that doesn't just snap when you brush it, a tight jawline, that you need to put down the salad bowl and pick up a ribeye steak.
And I know it sounds like a pitch for the carnivore diet or something, but it's actually coming from a functional medicine perspective. The argument isn't, ideological or political, it's biochemical.
Okay, break that down. Biochemical.
It argues that beauty isn't something you paint on the surface. It's the natural, unavoidable byproduct of a very specific kind of cellular health. And the big provocative claim is that meat is the most bioavailable, most efficient beauty supplement on the face of the earth.
I can literally hear people listening right now. They're pausing the track. They're probably screaming at their phones. Did they just say meat is a beauty supplement?
I'm sure they are.
Because, let's be real, my dermatologist tells me to eat less red meat. My yoga teacher definitely tells me to eat less red meat. Every single magazine in the checkout aisle has a cover story about the plant-based glow.
Right.
So my question is this source just being contrarian for the sake of clicks, or is there some actual hard science here?
And that is absolutely the right question to be asking. We should be skeptical of this.
Yeah.
But when you kind of strip away all the marketing and you look at just the raw human physiology, the why behind it all becomes, it becomes very compelling.
And who is this for? Who needs to hear this?
I think this deep dive is specifically for anyone, but especially women and men too, probably between 20 and 50, who feel like they're doing everything right. But they still feel like they're losing the battle.
They're fighting so hard.
They are. They're struggling with skin elasticity, maybe their hair is thinning, or just that chronic tired look that no amount of sleep seems to fix.
And specifically the people who are spending an absolute fortune. I mean, let's just talk about the Sephora tax for a second.
Oh, it's real.
We buy the serums, the hyaluronic acid, the retin-A. Maybe we're even getting a little, preventative Botox or some filler. But the source says, and this hurts my wallet just reading it, that if your diet is poor, doing all of that external stuff is like pouring water into a jar with a broken bottom.
That analogy, the broken jar, it's kind of the foundation of this entire discussion. It's so powerful because it just perfectly highlights the futility of only using topical treatments when you're dealing with systemic malnutrition.
It's like trying to bail out a sinking boat with a teaspoon.
Exactly. I mean, think about it. You can buy the most expensive moisturizer in the world, La Mer, Augustinus Bader, whatever new celebrity trend is out that week, you're pouring that very expensive water into the jar of your skin.
Okay.
But if the bottom of that jar, the cellular structure, the lipid barrier, the collagen matrix, if it's cracked and broken because you are not feeding it the raw materials it needs to even exist,
The water just leaks right out.
it just leaks out. You get a moment of feeling moisturized, and then it's gone.
So we are basically just moisturizing the air around us as it evaporates off our face.
In a way, yeah. And this is where functional medicine is so different from, say, traditional cosmetology. It doesn't look at dry skin and see a dryness problem. It sees a structure problem.
Why can't the structure hold the water?
Precisely. Why can't the cell hold water? Why is the collagen scaffolding collapsing?
Right.
If you don't fix the bottom of the jar, you are just, as the source says, renting beauty, and you're paying a very, very high interest rate on it.
Wow. Renting beauty. That
Yeah.
is a haunting phrase. So our mission today is to figure out how to patch the bottom of the jar.
Let's patch the jar.
We're going to unpack why this source is claiming that meat, specifically red meat and animal fat, is the super glue for that patch. We have to get into the weeds on this because I'm not just going to accept eat a steak as advice without knowing exactly why.
Oh, we have to get technical. We're going to talk about something called the Lego block theory of nutrition, why sugar is literally cooking your face from the inside out, and why your fear of fat is probably the real reason your skin is so dehydrated.
Okay, I am ready. Let's start with section 1 then. Redefining beauty. The source makes this distinction that I think is really, really important. It talks about the makeup phase versus the healthy cell phase.
Yes. This is a fundamental shift in mindset. We are so used to evaluating our beauty in the mirror, right? Does the foundation sit correctly? Is the concealer actually hiding the dark circles? That's the makeup phase.
That's damage control.
It's aesthetic management. It's surface work.
Yeah.
The source urges us to, instead, look at the microscope. True beauty, in this context, is defined as the result of health radiating from the cellular unit.
That sounds a little abstract. Health radiating from the cell. What does that actually look like in real life?
It looks like resilience. I mean, think about a child's skin. You pinch their cheek, and it just bounces right back. It glows, not because they're wearing highlighter, but because their cells are turning over incredibly rapidly. They are full of water, and there's basically no inflammation.
Right. It's just plump.
It's plump. It's vital. Now, contrast that with the symptoms we just associate with aging, or bad skin. Dullness, grayish tones, those deep, static wrinkles that are there even when your face is relaxed, hair that's brittle and snaps.
And we just shrug and say, well, I'm 35 now. I guess it's just what happens.
Time comes for us all.
Right. But the source argues that these aren't just markers of time passing. They're distress signals. They are actual red flags waving from your cells screaming, we are starving, we are inflamed, we are damaged.
So a dark circle isn't just a sign I stayed up too late.
It's not just fatigue, no. It could be a sign of poor oxygenation because of low iron. If your skin is sagging, it's not just gravity finally winning. It's the literal destruction of your collagen matrix. Okay, so we need to stop treating the wrinkle and start treating the signal. The source points a finger at two main villains in this whole cellular war. Two things that are actively smashing the bottom of our jar. Villain number 1, chronic inflammation.
We hear the word inflammation and we immediately think of like a sprained ankle, it gets swollen, red hot,
Right, an injury.
an acute injury. But chronic systemic inflammation is a totally different beast. It's like a low-grade fire that's just smoldering inside your body 24/7.
That sounds exhausting.
It is exhausting for your body. When your body is constantly inflamed, and this is usually from stress, environmental toxins, or, crucially for our talk today, a high-sugar, high-processed food diet, it basically goes into a permanent state of emergency.
It thinks it's constantly fighting a war.
It is. And in a war, you don't spend precious resources on, painting the barracks a nice color. You spend all your resources on ammunition and fortifying the walls.
Okay, that makes sense.
So your body prioritizes your survival organs, your heart, your lungs, your brain, over what it considers your aesthetic organs, like skin and hair.
So it's a triage situation.
It's triage, exactly. If you're inflamed, your body effectively says, look, skin, I'm sorry, but we cannot spare the zinc and the vitamin C to make you glow today. We are busy trying not to die from this internal fire.
So the redness, the puffiness, the acne, that's just the collateral damage from this invisible war happening inside.
Precisely. It's the smoke showing on the outside.
Okay, that makes a ton of sense. But villain number 2, this is the one that really, truly freaked me out when I was reading the source material. Glycation. or as the source calls it, the caramelization effect.
This is, and I'm not exaggerating, this is probably the most significant mechanism of aging that the general public knows almost nothing about. Everyone's heard of oxidation and free radicals.
Oh yeah, antioxidants, eat your blueberry.
Exactly. But glycation is arguably far more destructive to the physical structure of your face.
Okay, you had to break this down for me, because when I hear caramelization, my mind goes to creme brulee. I think of onions cooking down in a pan. It sounds delicious. Why is it a bad thing for my face?
Because the chemistry happening in that pan is the exact same chemistry happening inside your skin. That is the scary part. It's a reaction called the Maillard reaction.
I've heard of that with cooking steak.
Yes, it's what creates the crust on a steak. So, think about a piece of soft, fluffy white bread. You stick it in the toaster. The heat causes the sugars and the proteins in that bread to bind together. What's the result?
It turns brown. It gets hard. It gets crunchy.
Correct. It stiffens. It becomes brittle. Now, just imagine that exact process happening inside your body at a much lower temperature, 98.6 degrees. It happens way slower than in a toaster, obviously, but it is happening constantly.
What's the trigger?
When you eat excess carbohydrates, sugar, bread, pasta, even too much fruit, that sugar floods into your bloodstream. It floats around looking for something to latch onto, and its favorite thing to bind with is protein.
And my skin is made of protein. My entire face is protein.
Your skin is held up by a scaffold, a framework of two key proteins, collagen and elastin. So this free-floating sugar literally attacks and binds to your collagen fibers. This process forms these nasty little molecules that scientists call AGEs.
AGEs.
Yes, advanced glycation end products. A very appropriate acronym, don't you think? AGEs.
Unbelievably appropriate. So the sugar attaches to the collagen like handcuffs.
It's more like it creates crosslinks. Think of your healthy collagen fibers like a bundle of separate, flexible, bouncer rubber bands that can stretch and snap back easily.
Okay.
Glycation comes in and ties those rubber bands together with hard, brittle knots. They can't stretch anymore. They lose all their elasticity.
So if I smile, my skin crinkles up.
And if the collagen is healthy and bouncy, it snaps right back when you stop smiling. But if it's glycated, if it's caramelized, it stays crinkled. That's how a dynamic line becomes a static wrinkle.
And what about sagging?
Eventually, that cross-linked structure becomes so brittle and damaged that it collapses under the weight of gravity. That's sagging, that's jowling. And visually, just like the toast turns brown, glycated proteins turn a brownish yellow. It's one of the reasons older skin can take on a sallow, almost yellowish tint.
That is a genuinely terrifying image. My face is literally turning into brittle toffee because I ate a bagel for breakfast.
I mean, it's a cumulative process. It's not one bagel. It's a lifetime of healthy whole grains and low-fat muffins and fruit smoothies that keeps your blood sugar constantly elevated, which keeps that slow-motion toaster oven running all day, every day.
So the argument from the source is that to stop this cooking process, this caramelization, we have to unplug the toaster.
Exactly. You have to remove the substrate. You have to get the sugar out of the equation, and that leads us directly to the proposed solution, a low-carb, high-fat diet. But, and this is key, not just any low-carb diet, a meat-centric one.
Right, and this is the major pivot point. Because I can hear a vegan listener right now saying, okay, fine, no more sugar, I get it. I'll just eat tofu and spinach and avocados. I can do low-carb vegan.
A very common and logical thought.
But the source is incredibly specific. It said that's not enough. Which brings us to section 2. Meat as the ultimate Lego set.
This is the efficiency argument. And I love the Lego analogy because it just simplifies a very complex biochemical reality so perfectly. The first thing we have to remember is that humans are animals. Biologically, we are made of animal tissue.
They're meat.
We are meat. So when you are trying to repair your own meat, your skin, your muscles, your collagen, what is the most efficient and direct building block? Is it a plant which has a completely different cellular structure, different amino acid ratios, different kinds of fats? Or is it another animal which has a structure that's almost identical to yours?
Okay, so if I'm building a Lego castle, which is my body eating meat is like getting a box of perfect Lego castle blocks. There's the right shape, the right size, the right color.
Exactly. Meat provides the complete Lego set. It has all the essential amino acids, fats, and vitamins in the exact ratios, the exact forms that human physiology is designed to use immediately. Plants, on the other hand, well, plants are a different brand of building block. Maybe they're like Lincoln logs. Can you build a Lego castle out of Lincoln logs? I mean, maybe. But you'd have to whittle them down and glue them together, and you'd have to work 10 times harder to make them fit.
And even then, you'd probably have some gaping holes in the wall because you just couldn't find a piece that would fit that specific spot.
And that is the nutrient gap in action. Let's take the most famous beauty protein of all, collagen. It's the buzzword of the century. Women are putting collagen powder in their coffee, taking collagen pills.
I literally have a giant tub of it in my kitchen right now.
Most people do, but there's a huge misunderstanding about how it works. You don't just eat collagen, and then it magically travels through your body and pastes itself onto your face.
That'd be nice.
It would be amazing, but your body has to make its own collagen. It's a manufacturing process, and to run that factory, you need very specific raw materials.
Yeah.
Specifically, you need a huge supply of two amino acids, glycine and proline.
Glycine and proline. Okay, are those hard to come by?
They are extremely abundant in animal connective tissue. We're talking skin, tendons, bone broth, those gelatinous cuts of meat that people often avoid. The source calls animal protein a collagen factory. For this reason, it's just flooded with glycine and proline in a highly bioavailable form.
And plants.
Plants, not so much. Plant proteins are often described as having an incomplete constitution when it comes to these specific amino acids. They might have a little bit of one, but not enough of the other, or they're not in the right ratio for humans.
So if I'm relying on, say, a salad or a pea protein shake to build my collagen, I'm essentially trying to run a factory with half the workers missing and the wrong parts being delivered.
You're creating a production bottleneck. Your body is ready and willing to repair your skin, but it's sitting there waiting for a shipment of glycine that never arrives, so the repair just doesn't happen. The wrinkle stays. The sagging continues.
Okay, that covers the structure. But let's talk about the glow, because this is the one that really gets me. I have friends who are vegetarian, and I say this with nothing but love. They often look pale. Not in a porcelain doll kind of way, but in an I really need a nap kind of way.
Yes.
And the source links this directly to two nutrients, iron and B12.
This is where we have to completely debunk the Popeye myth. We all grew up watching Popeye squeeze that can of spinach and suddenly get huge muscles. We were taught spinach equals iron.
I think I still believe that at a deep subconscious level.
It's time to let it go. Spinach does contain iron, that part is true, but it contains what's called non-heme iron. That's the plant form. And it's incredibly difficult for the human gut to absorb.
How difficult?
The source cites a really brutal data point. The absorption rate of iron from plants like spinach is often less than 5%.
Wait, less than 5%? So for every 100 units of iron in that giant salad I'm forcing myself to eat, my body's only getting maybe 3 or 4 of them.
If you're lucky. And that's assuming you aren't eating other things that actively block iron absorption, like phytates, which are, you guessed it, also in plants.
Oh, come on.
Now compare that to heme iron. This is the iron found in red meat, in blood. The absorption rate is between 20 and 30%. It is chemically structured in a way that your body just recognizes it and welcomes it in.
So it's like it has a VIP pass to get into my bloodstream, while the plant iron is stuck outside the club.
That's a great way to put it. And why does this matter so much for beauty? Iron's main job is to transport oxygen. It grabs oxygen from your lungs and acts like a little delivery truck, taking it to every single cell in your body.
Including my skin cells.
Including your skin cells. If you're iron deficient, which a staggering number of women are, your cells are literally suffocating. They're in a low oxygen state. It's called hypoxia.
And a suffocating cell looks
Gray, ashen, lifeless. That's what creates those dark purplish circles under the eyes. It creates that pale, bloodless look to the whole face. But when you have sufficient heme iron, your blood is rich, it's red, it's fully oxygenated, it acts as a natural blusher from within. You get that healthy pinkish undertone that we're all trying to bake with makeup.
So the glow isn't a magical property. It's actually just oxygen.
It's oxygen, it's life. It's vitality radiating through well-fed cells. And then you pair that with its partner in crime, vitamin B12.
B12 is the energy vitamin, right? I see it in energy drinks.
It is, but for skin, it's all about regeneration. Your skin cells are supposed to turn over constantly. To make a new cell, you have to replicate DNA. B12 is absolutely critical for that DNA synthesis process.
And if you're low on B12?
If you're low on B12, and here's the kicker, B12 is only found naturally in animal products. There are no plant sources. Your cell turnover slows way down. Old, dead, dull cells stick around on the surface for longer. This leads to dullness, uneven texture, and pigmentation issues. The source describes sufficient B12 as creating a clear, clean complexion.
It's like we're building a super soldier for beauty here. We've got the collagen structure, we have the oxygenated glow. Now let's talk about defense. What about things like acne, breakouts, sensitive skin? The source points to zinc and retinol.
Zinc is the quiet, unsung hero of dermatology. It's the healer. If you have a cut, a scrape, a sunburn, or a pimple, zinc is the mineral that shows up and orchestrates the entire repair process. It's profoundly anti-inflammatory.
I've definitely seen zinc in diaper rash cream.
Exactly. Because it calms and heals irritated skin. Red meat is one of the richest sources of bioavailable zinc on the planet. But the bigger story here, the one that really seems to shock people, is retinol.
Okay, retinol is the gold standard. Every dermatologist recommends it. It's like the only ingredient the FDA actually allows to claim it reverses the signs of aging. But I thought I could get vitamin A from carrots.
Ah, the great carrot fallacy. We are all taught from childhood. Eat your carrots, they have vitamin A, they're good for your eyes. That is technically a lie.
Oh, why?
Carrots have beta-carotene. Beta-carotene is a precursor to vitamin A. It's a raw material that your body can, theoretically, turn into vitamin A, but it has to perform a complex chemical conversion to do it.
So it's like getting crude oil instead of gasoline. I can't just put crude oil in my car. It has to go to a refinery first.
That is a perfect analogy, and here's the kicker. Humans are, by and large, terrible refineries. Depending on your genetics, your individual conversion rate of beta-carotene to the active form of vitamin A, which is retinol, can be as low as 3%. Some people can barely do it at all.
I'm kidding. So I could be eating 5 pounds of carrots a day, turning my skin orange, but my actual skin cells are still starving for real retinol.
Pretty much. You're getting the orange pigment, the carotene, but not the bioactivity. Now, animal fats like egg yolks, butter, and especially the fat from a steak, they contain actual preformed retinol.
It's already gasoline.
It's already high-octane gasoline. You eat it, and your body can use it immediately to speed up that skin cell turnover cycle, smooth out wrinkles, and clear up acne. No conversion loss.
This really just drives home that whole Lego concept. It's all about efficiency. The source says a single steak acts like a comprehensive multivitamin and a beauty serum, all in one. It's not just protein. It's the zinc, the heme iron, the B12, the retinol, the collagen building blocks, all packaged together.
And crucially, they are packaged in fat. That is the delivery system. You cannot absorb vitamin A without fat. You can't absorb vitamin D or E or K without fat. Nature is smart. It packaged the nutrient together with the vehicle needed to absorb it.
Whereas when we take a synthetic multivitamin with just a glass of water,
We often just pee most of it right out. When you eat a ribeye, you are absorbing the whole synergistic package.
Okay, you just mentioned the F word, fat. This is, I think, the hardest part for people to swallow, pun intended. This brings us to section 3, the mechanics of the low-carb, high-fat diet. Because I think people are listening and thinking, okay, fine, I'll eat this steak, but I'm going to get the leanest cut possible, trim off every speck of fat, and I'll have it with a side of brown rice to be healthy.
And that is exactly where you fail. The source is absolutely adamant on this point. It is not just about adding meat, it is about subtracting carbohydrates. You cannot have the steak and the cake. It doesn't work.
Why not? What happens if I eat both, say a burger with the bun and fries?
You create a metabolic car crash. When you eat high fat and high carbs together, that burger and fries is the perfect example, you spike your insulin through the roof. Insulin is the master storage hormone.
Right.
When insulin is high, it's like a screaming signal to your body. Emergency! Too much energy! Open the doors to the fat cells and shove everything in there right now. It also drives inflammation.
So insulin is the aging pedal we talked about earlier with glycation.
Yes. High carbs equals high insulin, which equals rapid aging and efficient fat storage. If you want the beauty benefits of the meat, you have to keep insulin low. That means cutting the carbs way, way down.
But then, don't I need carbs for energy?
This is the part people mess up. If you cut carbs, you remove your body's primary fuel source. So you absolutely must replace that energy with something else. You have to replace it with fat.
If I cut carbs and I also cut fat, I'm starving.
You're just starving. You will wreck your metabolism, you'll destroy your thyroid function, and your hair will fall out. You have to eat the fat. And from a beauty perspective, the fat isn't just energy, it's a structural component.
Talk to me about hydration. This one blows my mind. We're all taught that water hydrates us. Drink 8 glasses a day. But the source says fat hydrates us. How does that even work?
Okay, think about a water balloon. The water inside is the hydration. But what is keeping that water inside?
The rubber of the balloon.
The rubber of the balloon. If that rubber is weak or thin or has tiny holes in it, the water's going to leak out, right? Your cells are just trillions of tiny water balloons. The rubber that makes up the wall of every single cell in your body is called a lipid bilayer. Lipid just means fat. It is made of cholesterol and saturated fat.
So the cell wall is literally made of fat.
It is made of the very things you've been told to avoid. If you are on a low-fat, low-cholesterol diet, you are not giving your body the raw materials to build strong, robust cell walls. Your balloons become thin and leaky.
So I can drink a gallon of water a day, but if my cell walls are flimsy, my cells can't hold on to it. I'm just peeing it out.
Exactly. You have what's called internal dryness. This is why so many people on low-fat diets complain constantly of dry, flaky, itchy skin even though they drink tons of water. To have that dewy skin, that plump water-light look that's so popular.
The glass skin look.
Yes, glass skin. That requires strong cell membranes to hold the water inside the cell, and you need to eat dietary cholesterol and fat to build that wall.
I feel like the phrase eat cholesterol is something that would have got us canceled in the 1990s.
It definitely would have. We were so deep in the fat phobia. But cholesterol is also the mother molecule for all of your sex hormones. Estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, they are all manufactured from cholesterol.
And we know hormones run the entire beauty show.
They absolutely do. If your hormones have tanked because you're starving your body of the cholesterol it needs to make them, you lose your vitality, your hair thins, your skin gets dry and creepy, your libido plummets, you just look washed out. Eating good animal fats helps restore the hormonal balance that makes you look and feel vibrant.
There is one more aesthetic benefit the source mentions that I find so fascinating: the natural contouring effect. This is for anyone listening who feels like their face is always puffy.
The dreaded moon phase.
Yes. You know, the morning after you have pizza and beer, you wake up and your eyes are practically swollen shut and your jawline has completely vanished into your neck.
That is water retention caused by carbohydrates. The mechanism is actually really simple. For every 1 gram of glycogen, which is stored carbohydrate that you hold in your liver and muscles, your body needs to store about 3 to 4 grams of water right alongside it.
Wow. So carbs are literally sponges.
They are sponges. If you're eating a high-carb diet, you are walking around carrying several extra pounds of unnecessary water weight, and a lot of that sits in the subcutaneous layer right under the skin of your face.
So when I switch to a low-carb, high-fat diet,
You wring out the sponge, your body burns through its glycogen stores for energy, and all that water that was bound to it gets flushed out. This is why people often lose 5, sometimes 10 pounds in the very first week of a keto or carnivore diet. It's not fat loss yet, it's water.
and what's the visual result of that whoosh, as they call it?
The puffiness just vanishes. Your cheekbones, which you thought you'd lost forever, suddenly pop out. Your jawline sharpens. The source calls it a natural contouring procedure. You aren't losing bone or muscle, you're just removing the fluid mask that was hiding your actual features.
Unmasking your own face. I love that. It's like you spent years sculpting a beautiful statue, but you left a wet towel draped over it the whole time. Now you're finally taking the towel off.
That is a fantastic visualization. That's exactly what it's like.
Okay, so we have the science, we have the why, but now we have to address the giant elephant in the room. Section 4, overcoming the mental block. Because even after hearing all of this, even knowing the chemistry, I look at a greasy, fatty steak, and there is a voice in my head that screams, this is going to give you a pimple, this is going to clog your arteries and your pores.
It's such a deep-seated conditioning, isn't it? Grease in equals grease out. We have this mental image that if we eat fat, it will literally just ooze out of our pores as sebum.
Right, I just feel like I'm going to look oily and broken out.
But that's just not how biology works. Sebum production, the oil on your face, is largely driven by hormones, specifically androgens and, you guessed it, insulin.
Insulin again. The villain returns.
The villain always returns. High insulin from all the sugar and carbs is what spikes oil production and inflammation. That is the perfect recipe for acne. But when you eat fat in the absence of sugar, your insulin stays flat and low. Your inflammation plummets. The dietary fat is simply burned for clean energy or used to repair your cell membranes. It doesn't get a hormonal signal to turn into a zit.
So the greasy pizza causes acne. Not because of the pepperoni and cheese, but because of the flour and the crust.
It's the combination. It's the crust plus the cheese plus the sugary sauce. It's the high-carb, high-fat bomb that spikes your insulin. But if you just ate the pepperoni and the cheese by themselves, no insulin spike, no inflammatory response, no acne.
That is a very hard rewire for the brain to make.
It requires a leap of faith, it really does. And the source acknowledges this directly. It explicitly tells the reader to throw away the vague guilt or fear about meat eating. That guilt isn't based on physiology. It's a product of decades of bad marketing and flawed science.
So we have to consciously reframe the steak. It's not a heart attack on a plate. It's a high-end beauty investment.
Think about the economics of it. A high-quality, grass-fed ribeye might cost you, what, $20? A single jar of La Mer face cream costs over $300.
A painful truth.
The steak contains the actual bioavailable retinol, zinc, and collagen building blocks that the expensive cream is trying to synthetically emulate. Which one is the better investment in your long-term beauty?
When you put it that way, the steak is a massive bargain. So what's the call to action here? How do people actually start this?
It's simple, but it feels radical. The advice is to just try it. Swap the salad for the steak tonight, or the salmon or the lamb chops, and don't trim the fat. Intentionally eat the fat.
And what should we be looking for? Because, people want to see results and they want to see them fast.
Pay attention to that feeling of inner dryness. You know when you get out of the shower and your face feels tight and squeaky, like it's 2 sizes too small?
Ugh, yes, I hate that feeling more than anything.
Watch for that to just disappear. Within a week or two of eating high fat, your skin's natural oil barrier, your acid mantle, just repairs itself. You might find you need way less moisturizer, or none at all.
What else?
Watch for the puffiness to go down in the morning. And then long term, you look at the bounce of your skin, the clarity, the tone.
It really is an experiment in self-care, but a completely different kind of self-care. It's not about pampering from the outside in. It's about fueling from the inside out.
It connects the external with the internal. True beauty isn't about hiding flaws. It's not about masking imperfections. It's about filling your body with the correct raw materials so that the flaws just repair themselves. The body knows how to heal if you give it what it needs.
I love that thought. We spend so much time and money trying to spackle over the cracks in the wall, and so little time thinking about the foundation of the house.
And if we want to connect this to the bigger picture, if that old saying is really true, and you are what you eat, then you have to ask yourself a question. Do you want to be built of fragile caramelized sugars? Do you want to be a sugar sculpture that melts in the rain?
I definitely do not. That sounds awful.
Or do you want to be built of robust structural proteins and resilient flexible fats? Do you want to be marble?
I want to be marble. Ageless, strong, glowing marble.
Then you need to eat the materials that make marble.
So the most powerful beauty tool you own isn't in your makeup bag. It's not in a syringe. It is literally on your dinner plate.
It puts the power and the responsibility back in your hands. You don't need a prescription. You don't need a dermatologist appointment. You just need a grocery list and a good cast iron skillet.
I love that. Well, listener, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the beauty paradox. My challenge to you is this. Go enjoy a steak tonight or some fatty fish. Guilt-free. Observe how you feel. Observe how you look. And let us know if you find that glow.
And don't forget to eat the fat.
Never, ever forget the fat. That's it for us today. Stay curious, stay hungry, and we will see you on the next deep dive.
Goodbye, everyone.